and welcome to the Asylum. I'm your host, Don, and with me today, as always, Jeremiah.
Hi, we're here to talk about a above average Asylum movie.
That movie
That
being,
I Am Omega.
which is, I believe, the fourth take on Richard Matheson's I Am Legend, if I remember.
Yes, in fact, they give him credit as a writer for this.
That's true, they do.
I don't think he wants that credit, but he does get credit as a writer for this movie with
Give credit where credit's due.
Geoff Mead, or Geoff Mead, sorry, Geoff Mead, and
The other guy,
I don't think Matheson wants the credit, but okay.
Mikey. Was it Mikey or was he Vince? Or Vic?
Vincent.
Vincent?
Geoff Mead was Vincent.
Yeah.
This movie is directed by Griff Furst, who we've seen a lot of his other movies for. So a lot of these guys who direct in Asylum ones are also actors. They do lots of things. But this was his first movie he ever did. After this, he did Universal Soldiers, which we've not seen yet. He did 100 Million BC right after that one. And he's done quite a few movies since. A lot of them direct to DVD and so on.
I'm looking forward to Universal Soldiers personally. I do love Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he's also not a good actor. So a take on him would be nice.
And stars a movie that you were way more excited for, an actor you're excited for.
Mark Dacascos. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yep, looks right.
He's been in a couple other lesser known films. He was in John Wick 3. I'm fairly certain
2, I think, too, wasn't he?
I don't remember if he was in 2. I don't remember which one he was in. I think it was 3. But most importantly, he's in one of the greatest martial arts movies of my childhood, Double Dragon. Which
he's wrong. That's a terrible movie.
Which gave me an important life skill.
Terrible movie.
Important life skill, which is I can crack my knuckles like this, which I would never learn how to do, or known was possible, if not for Double Dragon.
But not to limit, this guy got started with like Doogie Howser and the Flash TV show.
He's actually a legit actor.
He was in Tales of the Crypt.
Yeah.
He was in Wing Commander Games. He was in Island of Dr. Moreau, which there's a bunch of big actors in that movie, even though the movie was notoriously awful. Yes. He's been in the Crow series. He's been in CSI, Cradle. He's been in one of the Cradle to the Grave things. After this movie, he went on to be in Stargate. He was in Mortal Kombat Legends. He was in Chicago PD. I know he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was in for quite a bit. He was in Lucifer. He's been in lots of TV stuff. Of course, we said John Wick. Most recently, he was in stuff. He's been in Knights of the Zodiac, the live-action anime movie that came out. He was in Blades of the 47 Ronin. He was in the DC animated stuff with Batman Soul of the Dragon, which is the 70s take of Batman, which was kind of awesome. Never seen that one. He's been in Hawaii Five-0. He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the guy is definitely a legit actor.
Brotherhood of the Wolf, another very underrated movie. If you've never seen it, Brotherhood of the Wolf is a great French film.
Yeah, he's definitely a good actor, but he was in Double Dragon, which is what matters
to you.
He was Jimmy Lee, and his brother was Billy Lee, who somehow was very clearly Caucasian, while he is very clearly not. They're brothers.
The other star in this movie is Jennifer Lee Wiggins, who plays Brianna, who's been in a lot of Asylum stuff that we haven't seen. Just before this, in the same year, she was in Pirates of Treasure Island. Holly. She was also in the 9/11 Commission Report, which I refuse to believe is anywhere near as good as reviews keep on saying it is. I don't understand.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Maybe we'll find out.
She's in Dracula's Curse.
Which I'm looking forward to.
She's just been consistently working in a lot of direct-to-DVD stuff. Her most recent one was called Asteroid-Ageddon. Sounds classic. Oh, and she was in a Transformers knockoff called Hornet. I don't think made by the Asylum though. Let me see.
Yeah, it turns out other companies do make mockbusters. Just Asylum's the best at it.
Oh no, Asylum did make it. So someday we are going to see Hornet.
Her again, which will be nice. She is pretty. No
So this movie is loosely based on I Am Legend, the book from the 60s by Richard Matheson, which talks about a zombie outbreak. And in that one, it's vampires. And as if you've seen the movie I Am Legend, that one is significantly closer to the book than this one is, where it's a scientist, Richard, who's been working on them, and he's Richard Hawkins, but whatever, and who's been working on them and experimenting on them and so on, and he becomes basically he's a legend that they fear. At the end, this one, it's a guy who at the very beginning, his wife gets smacked, like she pops like a balloon, dead, one hit when she's trying to drive away, and you assume son is dead, but you don't actually see it.
Yeah.
And then he still lives in the same house with a bunch of glass that's not broken. So either he replaces glass really well, or he has protected that house like none other.
Yeah. There's a lot of glass for a zombie apocalypse. That's all I got to say about that. He definitely has some sort of really good alarm system that keeps him alert of when the zombies get onto his compound, but not when they get on the other side of the fence, because they just seem to be everywhere on the other side of the fence.
But the fact that there's no glass broken, but somehow later on they get in his house is like, wow, you've kept really good care of your house. He's been living off MREs, which is smart. They actually thought about that. I don't know why he pays a dead person for gas and stuff when he gets alcohol and gas. He leaves money there.
Money's not real anymore. Who cares?
And early on, you realize he might be going slightly crazy because he keeps on having. It's either bad editing or he's going crazy where he has flashes of things like zombies behind him. They don't actually call them zombies, but then they're not there. But I don't know if it's bad editing or his mind's going.
He's definitely hallucinating for significant portions of the film, for sure. But yeah, there's definitely not anything there a lot of the time. But yeah, so he's living alone in his little compound, keeping himself alive, training every day to maintain his ninja-like physique. And then also...
And somehow has unlimited ammo. Everyone has unlimited ammo in this movie. I don't think they ever reload.
Well, they're Marines, so he probably builds his own bullets, I guess.
And retrieves casings from the neighborhood.
Yeah, probably.
And the skulls of the things that can't bleed on them, because if these things bleed on you, the blood gets in your mouth or in a wound, then you turn.
Which is normal for zombies, right? Like some sort of infection. Which I thought was cool that they addressed that as well with him, like
they show it, not tell it, which is good.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
He gets let on at one point and he starts freaking out and he pulls like a bottle of, I think it was whiskey, and vodka, I'm not sure, out of his bag, and then he just starts pouring it on himself and cleaning it off to try to ensure that he doesn't get infected. So like imply that that's how the infection travels, right? Which is cool.
And it's basically just him for the first half of this movie.
Yeah.
Which is the best half of this movie. It surprisingly works well with one guy on here, because this is competently shot, though clearly not with the best camera, just because you can tell the difference. But it's competently shot, has good enough atmosphere. Zombies are out there. It's the same house as World of Worlds 2, I'm pretty sure. And he holds it pretty well. Like, he's trying to listen to the radio and he's freaking out when signals come in, because he's like, there's no signals out there. There's nothing out there.
Like, he knows that he's hallucinating, because the first time he gets the phone call on his computer, he just ignores it because he thinks that he's just hallucinating that somebody's trying to contact.
I just like his moment where he answers and he sees an actual face and he freaks the heck out and runs away.
Yeah, because he didn't think anybody else was alive. But yeah, so he is performing domestic terrorism. So
he's Renchard. His name is Renchard, not Richard. Renchard, because that's a normal name. Renchard. Why can't they just call him Richard? Every other name is normal.
the subtitles call him Richard. Like
Every other name is normal, but someone
they
decided
very,
Renchard.
they very clearly say Renchard, but the subtitles Richard every time. But Renchard is going around. He's got a map of like all these different natural gas deposits around the city, and he is planting bombs to all go off simultaneously to blow up the city that is full of zombies.
And
That's
we
his.
don't know if the virus is everywhere or just in the city. It's implied that it might be everywhere, but at the same time, could just be in that city.
Yeah, because like if it's not just in the city, I don't know what he's accomplished. But I would think that it would have gotten out of the city because unlike what's the name of that movie? The one that takes place in Vegas?
Zombie apocalypse?
No, with
No.
Dave Bautista.
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. Yeah,
I
unlike
forgot you
Army
were
of the
talking about a
Dead,
movie with a budget. That movie's budget equals to almost the entire Asylum.
that's true. So unlike Army of the Dead, where they were like, yeah, we built a wall around Vegas, and that's where we kept all the zombies. There's clearly no wall around the city, and they're
Oh, good
clearly
grief.
like
That
out,
movie is so much better than this movie.
and they're clearly out in the wilderness because he encounters them whilst he is out planting his bombs. But yeah, so he gets a phone call or like a Skype
Somehow.
on his MacBook, and it is Brianna who is immune to the virus, and she
But
was on
she's
her.
also somehow sitting in that city, perfectly safe inside a normal building. Like, okay, in most zombie anything, there's something that attracts them, either blood or sound, something. In this movie, they make lip service that it's sound, but he's not quiet in his house.
Oh, not at all.
She's not quiet where she is. In the tunnels, they claim to be quiet, but they're singing anyway, because
Yes.
Marines are safe. Um, I don't know what attracts the zombies, or if they are zombies. I'm not sure what they are, but they do look pretty decent, and they do pop like gory balloons, which I think is kind of awesome. It works in this movie where it didn't always work. It works better in this movie, that effect, than it did in Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, but yeah, so he gets a phone call or Skype from Brianna, who was on her way with her group, one of which was her dad, to Antioch, which is like a enclave of people that are living together in a society, and they're on their way there because she is apparently immune, and they're hoping that they can use her blood to come up with a vaccine or a cure. So he, of course, is like, I'm not helping you. You're in the middle of a city full of zombies, which is logical. But then the absolute best acting characters in the whole movie.
The writer Jeff Mead, is Vincent, and then someone, Ryan Lloyd, who plays Mike, shows up, and they're supposed to be like hardcore Marines. Um, they're really bad, like atrociously bad, and they know that he was one. At some time, he was like some special like ops person, black ops dude, which would make
Yeah,
more sense for him because he is significantly better at what he does. He goes for headshots all the time, and like kung fu kicks people, and like when he has to kill zombies without like making them bleed, he knows how to do that, which
yeah,
is not something you usually see in zombie movies. Usually they're like just remove limbs until they die, but like
yeah,
he chokes one to death.
yeah. But somehow Vince knows how to fight because of the last scene. That's beside the point. But also, I mean, Renchard had taken like 4 bullets at that point. So
Yeah,
anyway,
quite literally.
so they show up and they're trying to convince Renchard to come with them to rescue Brianna, and they explain that she is the cure. And Renchard's still like, nah, fam, I'm not doing
And
it.
then they send a rocket into his house, blow it up, but apparently only part of his house. I'm not sure what blew up because then they walk into the house later and there's zombies in it.
I think that was like a shed that he went into. I'm not really. It's not really clear on where
It
he.
didn't look like anything actually blew up because they didn't have money for any like
Yeah,
demolition looking stuff.
yeah, it was definitely a after added fire effect that they put in there. That
Beautiful
was
fire effects.
yeah beautiful
But like
by a
really, like you're gonna waste your RPG right there?
Yeah, for real.
In his house?
Yeah, so they blow his house up to force him to come with them. Then we get to see these Marines in action. Um, it was about as good of accuracy as we saw in Mega Python versus Gatoroid, where they're just kind of randomly shooting. But whatever.
Which is weird because this movie had practical makeup for zombies.
Yeah.
They were not CGI. They were actual people. So like you have no excuse to like flail about when you're aiming.
Yeah, for real. So then they decide. So Renchard decides to help them because he knows how to get into the city without using the main roadways, which is they're going to use the sewers. Which, all right, sure,
makes sense. Yeah,
makes sense. So he tells them like, hey, no live fire in the sewer, because you'll blow things up. All right, cool. So they're going through the sewer, and
they start singing.
Which is the most dumb thing I could imagine to do on a stealth mission, let alone a zombie apocalypse stealth mission. So obviously, the zombies show. They kill.
And they sneak up on them. Like they don't notice.
Yeah, because they're singing.
But if they were Marines, they'd have someone watching the rear. Isn't head on a swivel what you're supposed to be doing?
Well, they would have somebody watching the rear, and they wouldn't be singing in an echoey tunnel.
Like head on a swivel is what I hear all the time in any decent military anything movie.
You gotta watch your six, man.
And Mark Dacascos was watching the front.
Yeah.
I guess he could have technically watched the back, but there's two armed dudes behind him.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you guys need to stop singing. And they're like, well, have a good time, buddy. Compadre. And then the zombies show up. So zombies show up. They infect Mikey. Vince
They don't infect. They kill him. They kill Mikey. He dead.
Vince tells Renchard to go ahead. And so he stays back to die in a blaze of glory, but does not die. And then Renchard makes it to Brianna. And then they start making their escape, and they decide the car they're going to take is a convertible with the top down. Oh wait, before that,
I also like how he somehow knows exactly where Brianna lives, and she's just living comfortably in a house or something like that. Like nothing was walled up. She wasn't like heavily armed. She's just sitting there. No bodies around there. No dead zombies everywhere. Just there.
But you have to tell them about your favorite part.
So they go to escape in this top-down convertible.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the other one. I'll talk about the other one.
Which other one?
The trash. The dumpster.
Oh, you can talk about that one. But like a zombie attacks him when they're in this car trying to drive away, and he just like vertically kicks up from the car. Like he's foot's on the gas, and somehow he can vertically kick up and hit the zombie in the face. It was amazing. And then he gets out and fights them all, and she just like drives away. I'm like, well, wonderful.
And he's like, oh, well, that sucks.
She does come back, and she does rescue him. But you can talk about the dumpster one.
Before they get to the car, they're on their way to like trying to find a car, right? And another like smart thing that they put in there is that he's like specifically, we need a stick shift. And she's like, why do we need a stick shift? And he's like, because all the batteries are going to be dead. So you have to have a manual so that you can push it downhill to get it rolling, and then we can start the car. So like, oh, that's a cool little like.
Oh yeah, because I thought about that later. It's like that's really intelligent.
Yeah, right. But anyway, as they're walking along, they are like next to a dumpster, and the lid of the dumpster pops open, and the zombie pops, and he just high kicks, like not even like his foot just boom, hits it right in the face, and it falls back in. And he slams it shut, and because she had a gun out, and he's like, you can't shoot that close because it'll get his blood on you. And she's like, yeah, I don't care. And he's like, it pops up again, and he does it again, and he's like, no, you can't, you really can't do this. And then he pulls a grenade out of nowhere, and he's just like, all right, here we go. Pulls the pin on the grenade, tosses it in the dumpster, and they run away. And the grenade goes off faster than I've ever heard of a grenade going off in my life, which kills one zombie inside of a dumpster. But yeah, so they're in the car making their escape. and conversing. And for some reason, they decide that even though he says, we have 4 hours to get out of the city, drive fast, they decide that while they're having this conversation with no traffic, that they need to slow down and almost come to a complete stop. At which point, obviously, zombies attack. So then they get attacked by zombies again. They're fighting, trying to get away. And then all of a sudden, the savior, Vince, shows up to save them. And so he starts like helping them to fend off these zombies after Renchard throws Brianna into the back of the van. And then Vince does a face.
And you see that Mike is there, just like in the front seat, just stitched back together, but very much dead.
Very much dead. Which is why he had to throw her in the back of the van.
His head was stitched back on.
Yes, it was. But then we find out that Vince's plan is that he's not from Antioch. He is a Marine that's just out there believing in survival of the fittest. And he wants the zombie apocalypse to continue so that it doesn't go back to everybody being soft like we are now. So their plan was to kidnap or to get Brianna and then murder her, which makes literally no sense because they knew that Renchard was planning on blowing up the city. So if they just didn't go in and they let him blow the city up, then she would have been dead.
Yep.
That was their plan. So Vince proceeds to shoot Renchard 4 times, I think. Both legs and both arms, I want to say. It might have been just one arm. But he shoots him at least 3, if not 4 times. And then he tells him that he would never kill a fellow Marine and then drives away, which is dumb because you just left the fellow Marine for dead. So that defeats the statement that you just made. But then Renchard is fine somehow, manages to get a car push started.
Except he's definitely hallucinating, and like I think looked like he was turning. It looked like they had an idea and then didn't do it.
But manages to get a car moving. Somehow knows exactly where Vince took Brianna
to rape her. After and having his corpse friend try to rape her too.
Yes, that is also true. Because Vince is clearly off the deep end.
And he pretty sure he was gay.
Possibly.
Or just lost it.
Yeah, completely insane. And then they have their epic showdown battle, which Renchard is moving extremely well for a guy who has at least 3 bullets in him. And then they win. They manage to get out before the city explodes, and that's the end of the movie. That's pretty much it.
So as far as this movie and its association with the book, very, very light, not really at all.
Yeah, really, it was just the fact that he lost his wife and child during the apocalypse, and that it takes place in a city during the apocalypse. That's really about it. Other than that, it's really more like Resident Evil-ish, or even Last of Us-ish in like kind of the concept. Overall, though, as far as Asylum goes, it's not a bad movie. It's watchable. It has a plot. Obviously, as previously stated, it has
a cast of like 4.
Yeah, it had like a very small cast that they managed to do a very good job with. I think that they had the same dude play the zombie a lot. If you look at the IMDb,
there's like 8 or 9 people that play zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one guy whose like name on there is various zombies as his role. But overall, it's not bad. I've definitely seen worse action films than this movie, especially from the Asylum.
Yeah, I'd say it's not bad. It's just the fact that it's not bad and that there's A, actual sound mixing, B, actual cinematography. That already that already puts it above most of the Asylum right there,
That's true.
without question. Now, is it a great movie? No. Am I going to pick this movie to watch for fun? No.
No.
There are some Asylum movies I generally could watch for fun. Because they're fun. Now, are they fun and like they're great? No, they're not great. They're really bad, but they're fun.
Room Avengers.
I can watch Sharknado because it is dumb as heck and fun.
Zombies. No.
These zombies as well.
Number one best Asylum movie ever. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this movie, right? I wouldn't like tell you like, hey, you need to go see I Am Omega, right? But if you're bored on a Friday night and you're just looking for something to watch on Tubi, you aren't going to be disappointed.
So yeah, it's fine. It's much better than I would have thought, and it was less painful than we've had in a long time. So that's a plus. The negatives, it's really a nothing burger by the time you get to the end. There's really nothing burger.
Yeah.
Like the lead is fine. Everyone else is an Asylum actor. Go with it from there. Now, the effects, I will say, the single worst effect shot in this entire movie.
Blowing up the house.
No, blowing up the city at the end. Those are like mega fault level explosions right there. And then there's like a zombie moving at the end, but it's filmed in a way that you can't actually tell and nor care. And it seems like if you blow up the city, did they kill all the zombies then? That's why what's the point of showing a zombie moving at the end?
Yeah, right.
But those explosions are, amazing.
Because every horror movie nowadays has to end with the like, oh, did they actually succeed? No.
But this was 2006.
Fair enough.
So let's spin this sucker.
All right. So
if we get the new Little Mermaid,
did you put it on there?
Asylum. Yes.
Oh, I thought you didn't have any animated movies on there, so I didn't.
I added that one for fun. There's an Asylum version of Little Mermaid. It is gloriously terrible looking.
Oh, the trailer looks phenomenal. Anyway,
let's see what it goes.
Wheel of Asylum. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us the movie that we will burn. 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Under the sea. Under the sea.
It's close to The Little Mermaid.
Downward screen. Down. This one I was going to worry me because that's one of the best Disney movies ever made to me.
Little Mermaid, really?
No, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
with James Mason from it was their second live action movie, and somehow still holds up better than a lot of them now.
It is on Vudu, Tubi, Crackle, Pluto, Flex, and Flix Fling.
So the usual. The usual.
Captain Nemo goes even deeper into insanity in this mesmerizing fantasy tale. Once again at the helm of his fearsome, wildly advanced vessel, the nautical madman endeavors to turn the world above the waves upside down.
Let's see if this is any better than their Moby Dick version. Because we all know when Asylum hits submarines and Navy stuff, you're going to love it.
They do such a great job. Yep, okay, that's it for Welcome to the Asylum. Okay, thanks, bye.